I'm going to title this one, I Hope I Get Away With This, next on Live Free and Ham. All right. Hello and welcome to the Live Free and Ham podcast. This is our weekly show where we discuss ham radio topics in New Hampshire, New England, Florida, and beyond. We're thrilled to have you here, whether you're a regular listener, and actually to see New York now too as well, since we got Mike, gracing our appearance here. So whether you're a regular listener or tuning in for the first time, thanks again for joining the episode and hanging out with us tonight. So let's get into the show. I'm your host, Eric, call sign N1JUR, and I'm with my co-host and a special guest tonight. But with co-host, go ahead.
It's Paul, N1OG, Big Route.
And Todd, W1STJ.
Mike, N2MAK.
There he is. Yes. All right. So with that, let's just get into our usual pleasantries here so we can get through this and get back to the discussion in a way. There's a number of ways you can connect with us in our community. You can always head over to our Discord and visit us at the link down in all of our show notes and in this show. And come be a part of that great community that's over there. You can always leave us a voicemail. If you got a question, maybe even racking your brain, need some help, you always use our number, dial 978-233-1142. And as Paul always says so eloquently, you can always call us for a good time, and that's always a guarantee. You can check us out on All-Star. We are linked up with our Live Free and Ham hub. That is number 580871. We are linked in with a couple other things, and it's been pretty lively the past couple of weeks, so it's been good to hear a lot of folks. And one of the, Live Free and Hammers is usually on there in some form or fashion, so swing by and say hello. And we always have our monthly live stream. Don't miss out by heading on over to our YouTube and hitting the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell, and when we go live, you'll get notified. The last thing you can always do, which we always appreciate, is that you can support our show by visiting our storefront at livefreeandham.com/shop. Check out all of our gear and latest merch. And we're always adding to that store and, doing some really cool stuff over there. Or you can be one of our Patreon members. And all of our Patreon members get some really good access to all of our episodes before they go live to the public. Discounts, free merch, sticker packs, our private member stream like we are tonight. And we have a private Discord for all of our lovely Patreon members too as well that we announce a lot of things happen before the usual public knows about it. So head on over there, and as Bob always says,
you can join for as little as $3 a month. It's not a big expense.
There you go. And so Bob is correct. So we do not have anything in the mailbag or for doing good today. So we are just going to hightail it over to our next section here called...
it's everyone's favorite segment.
And now, a little something extra with Todd, W1STJ.
Still a general.
All right. Well, you've heard it here. This is one of our favorite sections so far. This is where we help Todd and you study maybe for your extra. In each episode, we always pick 3 questions from that extra question pool, and we test Todd as in knowledge, hoping he gets his upgrade someday. You can always follow along using hamstudy.org. It's an awesome resource and is helpful in preparing you for your test, and recommended by 4 out of 4 VEs. As always, without any further delay, I hand it over to our VE Quizmaster. Paul, take it away, sir.
All right, Todd. Today's first question, one of your favorites. It is from sub-element number 6. The question is, in figure E6-2, which is the schematic symbol for a Schottky diode? Is it A, number 3, B, number 1, C, number 6, or D, number 2?
It's either 3 or 6, and I don't frickin' remember.
There you go. Now you can see all of the diagrams and the answers.
I don't have a clip called Walk Like an Egyptian. That's all I have to say. That's a giveaway.
Yeah, it could be either one of them.
I think that number 7 looks like the plans for the Death Star. I'll just say that right now. And it's showing that there is a flaw hidden in the reactor shaft.
And number 8 is the one in Spaceballs.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with 3. A.
I am not, sir. I'm going to do number 6.
Damn it.
I 3 jumped out to me. So
It's either 3 or 6.
Okay, final answer, Todd.
3.
All right, so Todd says his final answer is A, and it's number 3, which is incorrect. The correct answer is C, number 6. It is the one that looks like a backwards S.
They both look like
It
a
look like an
backward
S.
S. The number 3 looks like a backward S. It's got the curve.
Walk like the Egyptian. Just remember that.
Number 3 is not a full S.
Yeah, it is.
It's more of a bent S.
It's kind of like a crooked Z.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do not argue with the
Whereas-
designers.
6 is a straight up freaking backwards S. All right,
S-Star
so-
Spaceballs.
Number 1 is a varicap. Number 2 is a distractor because it's not an actual symbol, but it might be based on the transient voltage suppression diode.
Sure.
Number 3 is a Zener diode. Notice it looks kind of like a crooked S, a Z.
actually, yeah, it does look like a Z.
Number 4 is a regular diode. Number 5 is a light emitting diode. Number 6 is the Schottky. Number 7 is a silicone controlled rectifier. And number 8 is a triac. And the hint is even, it looks like a backwards S.
Just think, walk like Egyptian. Just do it that way, and you will get number 6 every time. Well, there we go.
All right. Question number 2. And this is one that you've also had several times.
I know.
The question comes from sub-element number 6 again. Question is, what is the photovoltaic effect? Is it A, the effect that causes a photovoltaic's beta to decrease when exposed to light? B, the effect that causes a photodiode to emit light when a voltage is applied? C, the conversion of light to electrical energy? Or D, the conversion of voltage to current when exposed to light?
Come on. You know this one.
Shit. I don't know. I'm thinking 2 different things. I'm getting confused. I'm gonna go with B.
There is only one correct answer.
All right, I'm going with B. Am I wrong?
No.
B is in Bravo.
Bravo.
Yeah.
I think it's B, my friend.
Final answers, everybody?
I guess so.
You're all wrong.
No!
You're all
Is it-
wrong.
It's C. Yeah.
It is C,
Yeah.
conversion of light to electrical energy. Photovoltaic. So think of a solar panel, right? That is the photovoltaic effect. The solar panel converts light to electrical energy.
But yeah, but look at B. B's got like distractor words in it. That's exactly what I felt in emit light. So I was like,
No.
oh yeah, that makes sense.
It has effect in it. Like,
Yes.
effect
Yep.
is in the question. And yeah.
Right, but so it's the effect that
Those
causes
assholes
a
came out trying to trick
photodiode to emit light. Like we're not talking about diodes emitting light. We're talking about the photovoltaic effect, which is converting light to electricity.
Don't ever do that again.
Come on, Todd. Come on, Todd. Oh!
All right.
He does this on purpose.
He does not. He randomizes this.
Because when I take
It is
the test,
all random.
I'm not going to get one of these fucking stupid diagrams.
If you do, I will give you $20.
I haven't gotten one yet. My technician, I studied freaking days on the stupid things and general, and I didn't get them.
All right. Well, I never got those as technician or general, but I would have definitely saw 3 or 4 of them as extra.
I got lucky and I didn't get any math questions on the general, but that doesn't mean that you won't get them. Like, all right. Question number 3 comes also from sub-element number 6. Notice a trend here. It's obviously saying you're struggling with sub-element number 6.
Isn't that the hardest one?
It's a lot of the
5 and
symbols
6.
electronic.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 and 6. So the question is, in figure E6-1, which is the schematic symbol for an N-channel dual-gate MOSFET? Is it A, number 4, B, number 2, C, number 6?
It's either 4 or 5, and I don't remember which way the stupid arrow goes.
I'm with you on that.
Oh my gosh, how many more do I have to give you symbols?
I wasn't even looking at you. The fuck?
L.
L?
Please help me. Yes. Which way does the arrow point? Arrow points in.
It does?
Arrow points in.
What do you think, Mike? I don't always trust Eric.
I'm with you on the 4 or 5, and then my thinking is like I'm trying to look at the arrow to get an idea, and it seems like if it's saying it's a dual gate, to me there's got to be 2 options. But if the arrow is pointing to I think it makes more sense for the arrow to be pointing towards the gates rather than away from the gates. So I'd go with 4, which
eloquent.
is A.
Yeah. All right. 4.
Yeah.
We're all wrong.
Nope.
First correct.
Yay! Woohoo! Always struggled with the arrow. It's always left. Points to the gates.
So, as you look at them, number 1 is a PJFET. Number 2 is an N-channel MOSFET. Number 3 is a P-channel MOSFET. Number 4 is the dual gate N-channel MOSFET. Number 5 is the dual gate P-channel MOSFET. And number 6 is an NJFET. So there you go.
Oh.
You struck out.
Give me 2.
You only got 1 right.
Play that funky music, white boy.
Who got 2 right? I always get removed.
Oh, do you? Oh, that's weird. Yeah, it happens to me when when I do Brew and Activate with Shannon. I'm the host, and I always end up going to another scene, and I get booted out every time. I'm like, what the hell? Like, fine, if you don't want me to be part of my own show, then just let me know. All right. Well, if you're on the journey like Todd is,
we'll get him next time.
Yes, we will. Then you might be studying for your technician general extra class like Todd. If it all comes down to the very end, Todd is helping you be successful. Just remember that. So continue with your studies, move forward. We'll continue to do this for the years to come, I'm sure. And with that, if you aren't using hamstudy.org as a way to study, then you need to start using it because it's a great tool. It's very helpful. All of us have used it to be able to get our technician or general or extra or all 3. And so we always recommend it. And so with that, if you maybe gotten your license recently, and We apologize if you have, because we all know you're just sitting there waiting unless you're already an existing technician and you've upgraded. We want to hear about it. So, give us a ring, hit us up, use our 978-233-1142 number, or send us an email at livefreeandham@gmail.com, and we'll celebrate with you on the next episode. All right. In our usual lovely show format, we always like to talk about our Ham Radio Week. So we're going to throw it to Mike first, since he's decided to stick his neck out and come hang out with us. So, Mike, how's your Ham Radio Week been?
Actually, it's pretty good. I finally got to go play radio for the first time in a while.
Wow.
It'd been like 2 weeks. It's just been so busy with work, kids, family, and all that stuff. Both my son and I have birthdays at the end of October, and it just cascades. You know how there's just too much going on. But no, I finally got out, and I went out yesterday, and I did a soda POTa activation with 2 other hams out here, and it was their first
710 with you, did you?
No, but I got to use the FTX one.
Ooh.
And so one of my friends brought the FTX one. It was their first soda as well. So a lot of firsts. It was their first soda. And it was their first time activating that particular park as well, which is both. So it was a really great time. And I used an antenna for the first time on its maiden voyage. So the podcasters won't see this, but this is the male mini bug out. So it's the Reliance antennas mini bug out, but with a male BNC and whatnot. And so you can put it directly, and we did it with the Yaesu, no coax, just right onto the back of the radio. It made a nice kickstand. The video will be out Tuesday.
I'm curious, how did it tune up like that? Like I found when I even used a short port coax of mine, I ended up affecting it too much on my end because of my body. But how did it go for you?
That's a counterpoise lug. So this has a counterpoise. So
there we go.
And I put this together. This isn't for me. It's for another ham friend who just got a QMX. Okay. And I thought it'd be great. He travels a lot for work, and you think about, it's not so much cutting down on weight. I know there's these 1 pound POTa soda challenges, but it's cutting down on things that you might need to bring or need to use or rely on. And I'm sure he's going to travel with coax if he's traveling with a radio, but it's one less thing to worry about. And it's just kind of a neat concept. And we've been toying around with it. And this is linked for 17, 20, and 40. Because his QMX is 15 meters to 60 meters. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't, and it's tricky coming up with those band combinations, what's going to work really well. But my rationale doing a lot of QRP stuff is you want 17 meters because if 20 is busy on a contest, and it took us forever to find a frequency at 20. We're freaking on top of the mountain, right? The hill. And it seemed like it was forever. And if you don't have a lot of power, that makes it even more of a challenge. So 17's nice, 20's great. And then you know how it is in the Northeast. You got to have 40 meters because you can definitely make a lot of contacts easily on 40. So a lot of fun. The antenna worked great. You'll see more of it in the video that I have coming out. But I kid you not, it was a lifesaver because we had another antenna failure and stuff. And so fortunately this was already set up and we just had to move operating positions and we had a lot of fun. It was great. And the antenna did beautiful. And it was interesting playing with the Yaesu for the first time.
My first question, I guess, is I got a couple now that you got me piqued interest here.
Yeah.
Well, what was your first take on the F1F?
The first thing I noticed about this, and I didn't call it out directly. I thought about putting something on screen in the video, but the first thing that I noticed was the screen. And you'll see in the video, it's not very legible. But it's not mine. I don't know how the contrast and the brightness was and stuff, but there was definitely, and you see it, and I was like, oh. And the operator is like, yeah, He goes, yeah, there's a lot of glare. And so I don't know if it's a function of contrast, brightness, if it was just the angle it was at and the position we were in. I've done the side-by-side with the 710 and the 7300 and stuff, and they're very similar. And sometimes it comes down to what your eyes are used to. I'm an ICOM guy, so I know where things are on an ICOM screen. It makes sense to me. But the fonts, the location of information is all different with a Yaesu or any other different radio. It's like
and
if you
no
switch,
rhyme or reason why they
and so maybe it's just that. But that was the first thing that jumped out. But other than that, it worked good. We had a weak station, and he was able to push whatever the Super DX, whatever Yaesu has that makes them sound phenomenal. It's like he just pushed the button and the next time we heard the call sign, it's like, oh my gosh, like it's like they jump up a couple S units because you can just pull them right out. So so interesting. I spent most of the time we were locked on a frequency, just mostly working the mic. I couldn't even see the screen from where I was seated half the time. So, but it was fun to try.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And then my other question, and I'll throw it out to the floor if anybody wants to pick your brain, but where are you with content? Like, I know you took like a week off or whatever, but like you've been pumping out content left and right. Like, did you hire a content manager and he or she is helping you?
When I took that week off before my birthday, I did make a few videos, and I already had stuff shot for one. Usually I shoot something, I edit it within a day, and then I put it out the following week. But this was like probably only the second time ever since being a YouTuber that I was able to build up multiple like extra things to have in the queue. I've still got like 2 unreleased videos. One that I just don't like. It didn't come out really well. And it's a Baofeng one too, of all things. And then one's just like,
well, then that's perfect then.
Yeah. And one's, I want to redo it. That's the thing. And the other one is it's
a Baofeng. It'll never be better.
Yeah. And the other one was just us in the car on the way back from Hamvention. I know her thoughts on this. It just didn't make it out, and I'll probably make it like a members only thing at some point when we get closer to the Hamfest season, like in February and stuff. Because there's some good thoughts about like what to do and expect and what you would do differently at these large events. But it doesn't make it. I just didn't get it out in time, and it doesn't make sense to put it out now. So
right. We could maybe save it for next year, and all of a sudden it'll be like precursor.
And work will get nuts for me this winter, and I'll be on the struggle bus for content, and so it'll be, but yeah, cool. No, it was fun. And the other thing I'll add just about this, there'll be a little short video coming out. So I brought up the Baofeng Mini GMRS for the soda, and I was like, I if I'm going to be up 1,1600 feet, I got to bring this and just see what I can do. And I had 2 local repeaters programmed, and I wasn't able to hit one, but I was able to hit one 53 miles away with it. As the crow flies, I punched in the GPS stuff last night, just using the stock antenna on it. And there's a YouTube short video out there, or I think it's members only now, but by the time people hear this, it'll be out. And it was making it in. I was like, dang, like, wow. But line of sight, elevation, and all that stuff matters. And I called out on channel 1. I called out on that. No one came back, but I tried. It's like, why not? You're in the perfect. You get the perfect opportunity, to give it a shot and just you see what you can do. You don't know unless you try.
Very true. Very true.
Yes.
All right. Well, and just a sidebar. I mean, might as well make a plug for it since you're official and you've got a members only.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Feed. Yes, I know. You forget it often. Crouch and I do the same thing all the time. So go ahead, make a plug. Please.
Yeah, no, I created a membership tier, and I'll share a funny story about that in a second too. But yeah, you can join. It's just one tier, one level. I'm just getting started. I don't want to overcomplicate it and everything, but I've been making a point as I got ahead with videos to try to put things out early. The GMRS video I just talked about now, that's a members only short that's out there now. If people want to see it, and by the time the podcast comes out, it will. So early access to videos at some point, probably do maybe like a monthly, quarterly, or something Zoom, or just member only live stream or something like that for now. But if people want to support the channel, you can join. Being a new creator and new at this stuff, when I went to go apply, and finally pull the plug, all right, I'm going to do this. I couldn't figure. YouTube was making me do two settings, two tiers. They wouldn't let me do just one tier at first, and I don't know. Okay, and it sounds like you experienced that too.
Yep.
And I think there's a maximum you can do, like 4 or 5, but I just wanted to keep it simple. And so I'm like, damn it, what am I going to do? I just wanted to charge a couple bucks for a membership tier so people can give back. And I was like, you know what? $20. And so the second tier was $20 is $20. And I'm like, I'm just putting it out there. Some people will laugh or whatever. And then it got approved. And as soon as I went public, I'm like, let me see if I can delete it. And I could. So I'm like, I'm going to delete it because I don't want anyone to be like, I gave you $20 and all I got is a YouTube short early. What's going on? But no. So yeah, but I was like, if it sticks, it sticks. You got to have a sense of humor. But I appreciate the support I've gotten since I launched the memberships just last month. And as all of us know, it takes time. But I've got some new mics recently, and there's other equipment I'll be buying, and it all goes back into the channel.
Cool.
None of us are getting rich, but we appreciate the support.
Oh God,
and it helps out a lot.
Ever the truth.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Well, with that, that seems a good segue. How are you doing, Grouch? What's your ham radio or a non-ham radio week like?
Well, I guess I did do some ham radio this week. I fixed my All-Star node. Mm-hmm. So now it is literally, it's permanently connected, which is fantastic. And there's even been multiple times where I have, I tripped the breaker, and so my internet went down. Then I'd go walk over and reset the breaker, and then the internet comes back up, and the node just reconnects. So, yeah, so it's been good. The only thing is now, like, leaving an HT on all the time. Like, I go to respond to somebody that's calling, and it'll be like, shit. Well, the battery's gonna die. I gotta change the battery.
I've heard you say both times that, hey, I'm just letting you know I heard you out there, but my HD battery's gonna die. That's all I heard every time. Like, well, I've heard this with somebody doing satellite work. I can't remember who, but yeah. Yeah, we're talking about
yeah. So the All-Star node's working. I had a long conversation the other day with a gentleman in the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I guess somehow he was connecting through Echolink into the node hub. I guess it was Jason's hub, but because we're connected to it, it all worked. And I got numerous text messages during that QSO of people that didn't want to over the air join in the conversation, but they wanted to let me know that they were listening intently and enjoying the conversation.
I was just sending brain signals. I decided not to text, but I just want that in public record.
I didn't say you. I just said there was several people.
Oh, well, I'm only because we had mentioned in the last podcast that I texted you to get Whiskey 1, Live Free, and Ham in your log when you were doing a POTa, and that's all I'm referring to.
All right, yeah. But so that was pretty much it, ham radio wise. I'm still trying to figure out logistically how it's possible to put an antenna up with I've got an RV probably 4 feet off the side of the trailer to the side of theirs, and then the same on the other side. And then off the back side, I've got maybe 5 or 6 feet between me and the next trailer. So there just really isn't a whole lot of room to put an antenna like here in the like RV slot. And I mean, the RV slots are in a big field, but there's also like, there's people in tents and people in, camper vans and other things, school buses and big giant coach buses, and they're just constantly rolling in and out of here all the time. So I'm trying to figure it out. But I think that because it's all sand, like, I mean, there is grass that grows in the sand, but ultimately it's sand. I think I might be able to do maybe a 1/2-inch deep trench and just kind of lay the 75 ohm coax in the trench, just kind of cover it so that it's just barely under the surface, and then that'll at least get me out past the trailers where I could put an antenna, in a grassy open area out behind me.
Well, you got time to flush it out, so it sounds like it's in the works.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for 5 months, so I got time to figure it out.
Cool.
And there's a wildlife management area literally that backs up to the airport. So
that is a park or no?
I believe it is. Yeah. So all I have to do is there's a gate behind me. Because the whole thing is fenced off, but there's a gate there, so I can walk Watson in the wildlife management area, and maybe I'll just take my backpack and go play POTa in my backyard.
That works.
I'll just mention Steve from Temporary Offline, Kilo Mike 9 Golf. He's had a couple recent videos about. He's had a couple recent videos about how about antennas for his RV setup and stuff, especially being severely space constrained, and some things he's done, grounding some different verticals to like the chassis of the trailer and everything. So interesting stuff. I'm going to assume though anything resonant is going to be much more of a challenge, given any type of space constraints and stuff.
How's
so I did watch his last video where he used this section of unistrut, and then he put a mirror mount on top,
right,
to do this his 17-foot telescopic. And I was thinking that something like that might also work for me. I would probably do it off the backside of the RV rather than the front, just because his shack and everything is in the front of his, and for me everything is in the back. But I don't know. I don't know that I want a giant chunk of unistrut freaking mounted on my bumper.
Well,
I was also trying to figure out flags. So,
and I was just gonna say, you mentioned 75 ohm coax. It was funny. I just saw a bunch today. I was with my son. We grabbed some Christmas decorations and other things at the store Ollie's. I don't know if you have that in New England. It's kind of like a discount retailer. Kind of, just
there's one on Amherst Street right now.
They had a ton of like RG6.
Oh yes. Oh, that's the that's the knockoff
where Big
place
Lots
that I thought used to be building.
Yeah.
Big Lots.
Like,
okay.
And they had a ton of including Monster brand RG6. And because I go into stores sometimes and I'm sure you do similar things and I was in a Sierra trading post with my son earlier today too. And I started looking at bags and other things. I'm like, what can I use for ham radio in this store? Doesn't matter if it's Kohl's or Big Lots or whatever it is, we all like start looking around like, okay, could this cooler be a QRP kit, or converted into that? But anyway, the 75 ohm cable, I saw a bunch of it and I was like, oh wow, good to know. But I think it's a lot less lossy too than 50 ohm, so
it is.
That can be helpful.
We know Mike's had it really bad for content when he's back in Sierra Trading Post with his QMX and he's, can this shelf turn into an antenna? I'm gonna make the whole entire metal shelf system. Sir, what are you doing? I'm just tuning up. Give me a couple minutes. I'm almost done. I got a good SWR. Can you move that product over there?
Yeah. I should have shared earlier. I did buy a G90 this week, so.
Yeah, dude. I totally forgot about that. Congratulations again.
Yes.
Thank you for adopting your old, family member.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been putting money away for an FX4CR.
Nice.
Like looking at the QMX though, like, I mean, that's like a quarter of the cost. I don't know.
It is, but you'll love you'll trust me, dude. Minus the mic.
Well, I know I love the FX4CR already. Like, you just got to change the microphone and the power cable out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a great radio.
I'd probably buy a QMax in a heartbeat if I could get the band combo that I wanted, but they don't make it with like 10 through 40.
I don't understand why. Like, I never understood.
Part of it's probably money, and they want you to buy the daytime and the nighttime version, and then there's the third version, which my buddy and it seems like a lot of people are getting like the 15 through 60 because it's like, we want a little of this, we want a little of that. It's like a black and white or a half moon cookie, depending where you're from. But it's like, I think a lot of us like, and I was making that antenna that I was just showing, and trying to think what's going to give him the most use if he's doing, if he can only do 15 through 60. And, but I think a lot of us would love like 10 through 40.
Oh yeah.
But you don't, I think the USDX will do that, but not the QMX. So unless maybe you can build it that way. I don't know. Like I wouldn't be trying to build it, but
I'm gonna have to trust your judgment because I only know the 3 letters. I haven't actually dove into any of that line just because I've got my FX4CR, so it's like I got that box checked in my head. So I'm not thinking like, I need to have smaller QRP radios to suffice my need.
And that'll do 6, which the others won't. So
yeah, and it does up to 40. So no, it does up to 80. So
yeah,
actually no, we'll do 160. I don't know if the FX4 will do.
No,
I think it's
80. I think it's 80 through 6.
80 through 6, which for me is perfect. So. Yeah,
the antenna for 160 is going to be bigger than the radio. We know.
A lot of wire that'll totally get away from the 1 pound challenge altogether.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yes.
So cool. All right. Well, it sounds like you get some antenna challenges ahead of you. But
I do.
I was thinking for Paul, like, you might want to do that unistrut and just like create an inverted L that kind of like drapes over the top of your trailer because your trailer's like just shy of 30 feet, right?
Well, it's 30 feet long from bumper to ball. Yeah. So like the actual dimensions of the trailer itself is about 26.
Okay. So if you put what you're like an end fed and you're doing like a 40 through 10 end fed, you could it's about 66 feet total, right? I think most of the wire is going to be at that. So you do an inverted L. So it's 30 feet on a 10 meter mast and about 30 feet over the trailer, give or take. And, you get the unistrut a little higher. I mean, I would say take it down when you go traveling, but, when you're going to be there for 5 months, no one's going to notice a big giant piece of metal flying in the sky. They'll think it's a flagpole or something, or, put a flag on the end of it.
Yeah. Well, and until the solar upgrade happens, and then the solar is going to kill that.
Yeah, well, that's true. But give it time. You're still working on the solar stuff. I know you just finally got the battery situation.
I don't know if you're adverse to random wires or not, but a couple short lengths that work really well is like that 29.5 foot or 35.5 foot random wires with with a 9-to-1, and you should be able to easily do 40 through 10 with a tuner, and you might be able to get most of those bands with the internal 3-to-1 if you have that. So
yeah, well, so I've got an external tuner that does full legal limit. So and it'll tune a lot. So I was thinking that my best option here, at least initially, was going to be the Rybakov. And taking like the POTa 20, and like, so there's no permanent mounted ladder on the back. So I've got a telescopic ladder that I put up.
Oh yeah.
So if I put that out and then I strap the POTa 20 to the ladder, you know, I'm figuring that could give me at least a little bit of height.
Yeah, it would. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could probably do an inverted V or a sloper or something to that effect, and mix
and then maybe I could run the radials under the trailer or something.
Yeah. Experimentation.
RF around and find out.
yeah, lots of things to try, man.
So cool, awesome. Well, good on that. Hopefully, we hear some updates as you come along, and will be some success for sure. It'll be good to work you on HF from one stationary place for a while. All right. Well, over to you, Todd. How is your ham radio week been?
It's been pretty active. I activated two new parks. I did Wentworth Coolidge Mansion State Historical Site. It's kind of a cool place. Kind of drive through a neighborhood with a freaking huge mansion in it. I mean, I drove by this gated house and the thing was freaking huge. Yeah. Anyway, but I only got 12 because I had work called. I was I was visiting a placement down in Portsmouth, so figured I'd try to activate, and it wasn't, I talked to Keith and he's like, 10 meters is booming with 600 watts and 100 watts. It wasn't so booming, but I made 12 contacts in the new park. And then today I went up to Temple Mountain and I got 33 and I got some cool, I worked France on 20 meters and I got a park in Bermuda. So that was a new park place, whatever you want to call it. So that was kind of cool. And then I got my new Mesh-tastic and been trying to figure that out. As if you guys were on earlier, I got one of these. I don't know if you can see it.
The Sense.
Yeah.
T1000.
1000.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's been going off a lot, and like I said, I haven't made a contact except with myself, even though I was when I was doing the activation today, I was up on a mountain and all of a sudden I got like this net and the thing was, I have the buzzer on to see if I get a message because I don't get anything where I'm at. And the thing just started going off like buzzing. I'm like, what the hell is that noise? It's the first time I heard it. So
yeah,
it was pretty annoying, but yeah, I couldn't make any. I tried to connect to the net and whatever, so I got to play around and learn more about it. We were talking to it before we started this, but I like the little device. It's literally like the size of a little credit card. I mean, the thing's awesome. Yep. And yeah, so that's about it. That's what I did ham radio wise. So it's been good getting out and getting some more parks in there. And the bands have been crappy. The last two activations, a lot of noise and a lot of up and downs, like people coming in real clear and then fading out hard and then coming back.
So you said you did Wentworth Coolidge Mansion State Historic Site, right?
Yep.
Oh, man. I can't believe I still hold the fourth slot there. You're not even on the top 5 leaderboard. Wow. How many contacts did you have?
12.
Oh, wow.
I had to leave.
Well, that makes sense. Okay. All right.
It was it's kind of a cool spot because it's kind of like it's inland a little bit, but it's kind of like it's like surrounded by water. So it's not it's like a peninsula or something, but it's a nice little spot and it's quiet. So I'll be the next time I got to go out there in 2 weeks, so I'll probably go back there and get some more contacts there.
Yeah, you drive through like uppity up neighborhood, but yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Before you go out there next time, all right, subscribe to the Space Weather Woman's channel because every week she gives these really good detailed reports of the possible solar flares that are coming at us. And this week,
this app
we got
have
quote unquote a train of solar flares.
I know,
not all done yet.
But listen, that is what I was talking to Eric about, and he gave me some shit like, "Yeah, we'll never know unless you go out there." And I was like, "You're right. I'm going to go out there and do the park. You know, I could at least get 10. I mean, if I had to drop to 20, I'd get. It just wasn't very. I mean, I had to work at it. I had to it wasn't as fun as when things are coming in good, but." Keith says, "Oh." He goes, "I'm going out right now. I'll let you know how the bands are." And he's like, "Oh, the bands are freaking great. 10 meters is booming." Like, how many watts? 600? I get out there with 100, and I'm like, nothing. It's like, I'm like, I need that amp.
Well, you have one of the two parts of the equation, right? You at least have 100 watts. It's the antenna that's the problem.
It wasn't the antenna. That antenna is awesome. Look at it. I hit freaking frames on 20 meters.
No way.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
you can work France all you want.
Well, I don't get
he was on a vertical.
I don't get a lot of Europe on 20 meters doing POTas.
I'm going to throw this challenge to you, my friend. I want, when you're out there with the bad band conditions, I want you to take the wire with you, throw the wire up as well, and figure out which one you find is better. Because if you remember, when we did when we worked our kilo on the rail trail, we were getting deeper and better signal reports with the wire when we were on 10 meters than, I mean, we got probably more contacts, at least on the vertical at the time when we were doing it, but we definitely got better signal reports on the wire, and we were hearing more too. So try it. I'm just throwing out the challenge. I'd like to see see how it works out for you.
All right.
Okay. Cool. So,
Wire for the win.
What'd you say?
I don't know.
I said wire for the win.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Well, the other thing that was cool about Temple Mountain is I was talking to Ralph, KC1 TLY, and he was saying, "Hey, why don't you, when you get out there, let me get on the call-in frequency and let's see if we can make a contact." So I said, "Oh, that's a good idea. I could do 2 meters, 70 centimeters, get 2 bands there, then jump to 10. And if 10 doesn't work, go to 20. I could get like possibly 4 bands." And that's what I did. So I call out, and Ralph lives like in Francistown on top of a hill, and he's in a cupola, which is at the top of his roof, like, and he uses an HT and he can get like the Cape. So I'm like, "Oh, that'll be a piece of cake, right?" Nope. Couldn't hear him at all. I got Hudson, Merrimack, and Nashua, no problem. And those guys could hear Ralph, but I couldn't hear Ralph, and Ralph couldn't hear me. So I'm thinking Pac Monagnac was in my way.
But you got to remember, you were in the Temple Mountain parking lot, right?
Right. Still
so
high.
You were, but you're nestled in between both Temple Mountain that comes down and Pac, which comes back up the other side. So you have this narrow valley that you're.
Yeah, but I was
through.
I was hitting like Hudson, Nashua, and Merrimack, like.
Oh. Yeah, dude, because like, that's a direct valley. Line of sight. That's like, if you think about it, you're going right down in through Milford and all the way. I should have gone
up to
Pac.
Yeah, I should.
Are they even open? Like, is it open? Because like there's no state rangers.
But I think I might go. Next couple of days. My next one I got to do is Greenfield, because since we lost the logs, and
my fault.
And I had the headset on, so we couldn't do it. So I have to activate that one. So, and I'm also at I'm at 59 parks, right? And I think I'm at 99 activations.
You want to cry?
What's that?
Here's in 3 days. Keith has sent me the logs for the stuff he's done for Whiskey the One, Live Free and Ham.
Yeah, I don't even want to hear it.
You got to. This is just, this is almost comical. In the 3 logs he sent us for our club call sign, today, actually, Rock Rimmon, 100 contacts. That's his lowest. Yesterday, the 7th, Ballard State Forest, 200 contacts. And that was a twofer because he was also at Taylor Sawmill, which was another 200 contacts. And then he's just got almost another 300 from another park he did today as well on top of it. He hasn't sent me the logs yet. So, yeah.
Well, he's also running 600 watts and he's doing twofers. So that's good.
100%.
That's why I was talking to you about amps. I need an amp.
You've got me down the rabbit hole now, dude. I'm like, okay, I can't stick a 600 watt amp in the truck. You know how much you paid for that amp, right?
Like, not a lot, right?
Oh, try like $2,100.
That's not that bad for an amp. I've seen amps for like 10 grand.
Yeah, but that's a kilowatt. And, for that
600,
size.
I mean, he's getting close to it, a little over half.
So my research, that $600 one, when I figured out what he paid for it, On the next one down is 300, and that's like basically 385. And that's more in my ballpark and would work fine in the truck if I wanted to do that. And then from there, you go down to like 150 and 100 and then 50 and whatever.
Now, let me ask you this. Can the wire, the bug out mini handle that kind of wattage?
Yeah, I think.
Well, one of the considerations.
I bet it will.
Talking about
bet
amps.
it will until it starts like glowing red and I burn down the woods.
Yeah, no, a big consideration when you're talking about amps and the ham spleen for the audience and everything else is like everything's going to matter so much more.
Oh yeah.
You're going to get more power, but chances are you're probably going to end up using a better antenna too, because the amps you want to have a really good SWR. Sometimes you got to be like within a certain margin of error. The tuners are going to be more expensive that are going to be able to handle more power. If you need a tuner for whatever you're using, you're probably going to want better coax to handle, to try to mitigate some of those losses.
So it's
ruining my fantasy, Mike. You're ruining my fantasy.
It's a big investment to go up.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I've already done I need at least, a small little short run of LMR 400. My battery's got to go from 50 amp hour to 300 amp hour in the truck. I've got to, basically, I can't use the ATAS because the ATAS will only support up to 100 watts max. And so, or 150 watts max, I think. So I'm definitely going off of some wire antenna. And so I was thinking Reliance or something that can, Matt could probably put something together that would handle the, extra 300 watts for that type of situation.
Yeah. And then you think too about digital modes and things like that. Just to say, usually antennas that we think of, the typical 100 watt ones, it's, that's 100 watts SSB. And then what it can take CW or digital tends to be less. And I'm sure, and it's the same. So ultimately, it's a big investment, but it's probably definitely worth it for a lot of hams if they can get more power and get a better antenna and better system and everything and get out there more, with the way the solar cycle is going to be going in a couple years. I can see it. It's not for me, but
I've already got it planned in my mind that I'm gonna, we've all seen the, the series, not Speed. What's the other Vince Vaughn? Help me with the name of the movies that were out there.
Need for Speed.
Not Need for Speed though. Vin Diesel in it. I might can't think of it's a series, but you all know the movie series that I'm talking about.
Triple X?
Cars one. What's that?
Oh, Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. Thank you. So, we all want that little, little switch. Yeah, I know there's 10 of them. I couldn't remember any one of the titles. They're all in the same, but all of the little red switch that you flip up and then flip up, that was going to be my, engaging of the amp kind of switch.
The nitro button.
Nitro switch. Yep. That was my thought. So I'm going to make this all
Mike,
out.
I think, I think when we worked Eagle Island, it was freaking amazing. I've never done a park where you call for the first time and it's an instant pileup. It was freaking nuts. And we were getting so many stations and it was just crazy how clear and how it was incredible. And it was
did you have a really good noise floor there? You're on an island, even though it's
we're in the middle of a river
island, but still
we're in the middle of a river surrounded by salt water. The freaking antenna actually on high tide was in the water. But yeah, he's got this, I don't even know what it is, but it's this big ass, it's supposed to be like a home antenna. And it's got a coil where you can just put the things for the different bands, but it can handle a lot of wattage. He said it's not he says you could buy one that would switch automatically, but he didn't need it because, he's just he's using it as a mobile one. Yeah. But, what I'd like to do is, try to find a small, a Electrocraft, or that's the one I want. Electrocraft, whatever. And
it's electric though.
Yeah, it is electric. It's expensive. It's wicked expensive.
Woogie.
For what you get. But if I could find a 100 watt amp that could go with it that wasn't so big, that would make it more compact. So I could get 100 watts, but not have
Just get a 710. It's a field radio.
I'm going to boot you off the show there, Mike. How dare you say those words?
I did a soda with it.
Right. And how's your back doing?
Yeah.
Has your chiropractor gotten back to you on increasing your meds? So, Todd, yes, you can get third-party amps, 50, 100 watts that are pretty relatively cheap for like less than $200, and they'll.
But how big are they? But how big are they?
Like, okay, so what's the one that goes with the
like PA50 or something? Is one
the PA50 is one I was thinking of. And that's like the same size, no bigger than like the body of the width of the 891. What's the one with
the Neptune?
The 6100 series? Who makes that? The
Zygu?
Zygu makes what they have. Yes, exactly. They make their own, amplifier too as well. So, that's like 150 watts or something like that. So you could find them.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could.
So
we brought a PA50 up for my buddy had it with his FTX1. But we never used it. I didn't even get a chance to see it. I should have asked to see it. He told me he was bringing it up.
So this is what Keith's got.
Yeah.
This thing is pretty sweet in terms of its size. It's not that, it's pretty portable for, at almost a 600 watt amp.
It's touchscreen too.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
That's definitely pricey.
And think of it, we put it in a box and threw it on a kayak.
It's $2,100.
Rode
going
the tide.
upriver.
And let me tell you, that freaking river at wherever that, in Newbury, it's got a strong current. Like, especially when we went in at the end of the tide going in, and then, I don't know, a couple hours later, the tide was going out. But when it was going out, like, we had to paddle and had to, like, kind of cross paddle to make sure we'd hit our slip, like, where we were going into, or we'd be fucking in the ocean. Like, you had to paddle hard. Like, it was strong. But yeah,
they didn't give you the amp then, did they?
What did I take? I took the batteries. He put the amp, but he's got like his kayak is like I have a fishing kayak. His is like a freaking barge kayak. Like it's literally like meant for carrying like parcels. And so he had the amp and the radio, and I had the batteries, and we had chairs and tent or shelter thing. So it was a good time. But yeah, the wattage, man, that amp was pretty awesome. And it was just, but like on a day like today, I wish I had it because like I said, it was really hard to hear some. I mean, it's not like you can't work it, but it's like you got to ask like 1,000 times because you're missing, like you get the beginning, you don't get the end.
But so
it goes in and
my
out.
Problem. Like I'm not a purist, and I'll put that out front, but not that, and I don't blame Keith for getting an amp because if you got the cash and you can pay for it, go do it. But it's like, okay, where's it stop? Like eventually you got 600 watts and you're like, well, then can I go to 1,000? And how can I fit 1,000 in the whole ordeal? And then at that point, are you towing a trailer to your POTa site, with the whole entire setup?
Yeah, I'm just saying that when you have like today, when there's the solar storms and the bands suck, it'd be nice to have more power. Now, when we were doing our kilo, I wouldn't need it was fine. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but I lately, even today with the things I get Ireland, for some reason, I get Ireland really easy, no matter what the band conditions are. So at least when I'm doing POTa. All right, Eric, what was your week like?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I spent most of my week just trying to fight with work and get work stuff done. So I didn't really spend a whole lot doing POTa. I wanted to go activate, but I didn't get around. I was supposed to do, I had a day carved out, and I got a phone call right as I was leaving the door to go do my Rybakov video because I finally figured out, what I wanted to do and set it all up. So I've only really played with that one once, and I wasn't playing it with the right way after getting feedback from Mike and Paul on how it's like I was basically putting it on upside down and inside out versus putting it the right way is the best way to kind of describe it. So now that I got it right,
not a sloper.
Trust me, in many forms, it was never, I'm surprised it worked as best as it did. But, hey, a blind nut gets a squirrel at least once in a day, a nut in a day or whatever. So, yeah, whatever the phrase is. So, yeah, outside of that, I didn't do a whole lot. I did finish up my everything in the truck. So I finally got all my, molly bags and, first aid kit all mounted in the truck. So everything's all good. I got the Bluetooth shunt put in finally, because as I learned in my experiences that if you have a battery with a Bluetooth BMS in it, a lot of them don't go below 1 amp in terms of detection. So if you've got devices that are sipping less than, 1/10 of a watt, every couple of minutes, you're never going to register. So you're never really going to get the BMS to be able to give you an accurate like current and, watt hour, output. So I had to put a shunt, basically a Bluetooth shunt. So I bought a Victron Bluetooth shunt, put it in line, and now I can measure down. And both the devices that are in there, my hotspot and currently right now the All-Star node, it's maybe 0.2 of a watt. So it's like really super small in terms of it just sipping power. So I get about a week and a half on the 50 amp hour battery. So it's nice. Now I'm just fighting solar. I find that because where I park my truck every day, solar sucks. Like I would have to park in the middle of the parking lot in order for it to get enough sun to keep the battery roughly topped off. When it's just barely in the range of the sun, on a good day, I'm getting maybe 1 or 2 watts, overall. And so, yeah, trying to find good places for that to keep the battery topped off. I'm finding I'm still charging the 50 amp hour battery like maybe once a week. To keep it back up at 100%, but I can get, a pretty good, decent charge. So my next project is I was either going to do the G2, but the G2 is still on back order. So I haven't gotten that for the Meshtastic node. But my other one is related to APRS. So I've got a toss up of whether I'm going to go buy another digi-rig and try that, or go with the other route, which was the other device Mike has. Again, I can't remember.
Moby-linked TNC.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Just wheel me back into my room when I'm done. So, yeah, outside of that, those are kind of my next 2 projects that I want to get done. And then I'm thinking, after seeing what Grouch's truck was set up like and how he's, has all his little gadgets and bags and stuff like that, I'm coming up with more what we'll call EDC-like things that I can put in my admin bags that I've got mounted to the rack. So that's soon to come. And, yeah, outside of that, I guess that's where I'm at. That's good enough for me. That's all the free time I've had to be able to put something together.
Cool. So, did you get a good quality tourniquet to put in your medical kit?
I haven't yet. It's on my list. Trust me, after seeing you and a bunch of other EDC preppers online, there was one guy I was watching. He literally had a tourniquet every 2.5 feet away from him. One in the door jamb, one under the door jamb, one in the center console. And he's like, this one's my favorite on Wednesday. This one's my favorite on Friday. And it's like, dude, how many arms are you cutting blood off to, or legs or appendages that you have to have this many? And it's like, I have my overnight bag, my bug up bag's got 2 tourniquets, and they're 2 different. I'm like, dude, you have so many that you could choke a horse. It's so crazy how much he had. So, I don't have any, but I will have at least 1 or 2. At least the med bag's got a good assortment of stuff in there. No tourniquet though. Sorry, Paul.
A tourniquet is a must, and a good pair of shears.
Yeah, that I have definitely got a good pair in the med bag that I got. I ended up buying what's the popular first aid kits that are out there by, I can't remember the name of the company. I have to go back and look at my Amazon feed, but that was one that most YouTubers that are preppers kind of thing recommended. So I grabbed one of those. It's like a 500 piece first aid kit, and had shears and tweezers and a whole selective stuff minus the tourniquet, because I figured I would see what you have in your truck before I decided to buy one. And so now I have a rough idea of where I'm going.
I was just thinking about the first aid kits, and I think as we're recording this now, I think Jason Ham Radio 2.0 just did something on first aid kits that I put in my queue. But I was thinking about it because when I went to go do the soda just yesterday, and we were messaging beforehand, like who's bringing what and this and that. And so I wasn't going by myself, and I wasn't using my radio. So I wasn't bringing my radio bags. And I did a video on, like the little, Altoids boo-boo kit that I have in my little POTa kits and stuff. But I was like, I better grab something. And so I went through and I had a couple like little first aid kits and stuff from like my coaching days and stuff, and and grab something. But it made me think. I was like, I should probably up my game in that department, whether it's for the car, for ham radio, and all that stuff.
So my rule of thumb is no matter how simple the kit is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the kit in my POTa bag is probably the simplest of all of them. You should still have a tourniquet. You should still have quick clot, and at least the means of putting a splint and wrap.
Mm.
And so, like, you can keep the kit very, very simple and small with just some gauze bandages and some gauze wrap, maybe an ace bandage, a tourniquet, and just band-aids and some Neosporin. And it'll be a fairly compact little kit. And then you just stick your tourniquet on the outside. But it's one of those things that, like, it's more than for just you, right? Like, you have to think, I am carrying this first aid kit in case I come upon somebody else who needs first aid.
Mm-hmm.
Not,
That's a good point.
I'm carrying this because if I need first aid, all I need is electrical tape or duct tape and super glue. And like, I mean, I could figure it out. I can get myself, situated to stop bleeding with those three things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but you carry the first aid kit to help other people.
Yeah,
Sure. That I don't disagree with. Yeah. So yeah, all in all, I've the hardest part for me right now is trying to, like, of all the bags. So you go, like, I don't know if you do this the same way I do. Is like you buy all these like cool looking little bags that, like, I could see how I could put several different things, and then you just throw crap in there sometimes, and then you forget about them. And I didn't want to do that because I wanted to, like, have them, we'll say, functional in the nature, because I prefer function over many other things. You're right there, Mike. It looks like you hit yourself, but.
I bumped the mic.
I felt that. I was like, over here. And so, like, I'm thinking, like, and I'm just creating lists right now of all the little small things, because I'm like, how many times have I forgotten barrel connectors? How many times have I forgot L connectors to BNC and that type of stuff? Or the simple things like power poles, or small little varying sizes of Wagos to power pole, connectors type things. And so I'm building that list with the idea that once I lay it all out, then I'll stick it in those bags. And then the hardest part is going to be, like, coming up with a labeling system so I can identify, like, that is like the ham radio antenna, coax repair kit and, whatever. But, obviously that's more ham radio centric for me. The other stuff, like Paul, pointed out in his truck, is like all of the other things that I don't always think of, like, okay, what do you need for, small little roadside repairs, that type of stuff for your car, and batteries and other things of that nature. So I'm slowly building that out with the intention that, I hopefully, do it in the right way, so I don't have to go back and refresh it again, which is my usual MO, which I don't like doing because it just wastes too much money.
So one bit of advice that I'll give you is the Maxpedition bags are super handy, right? And especially the smaller ones, they come in 3 different sizes. But, like, so I've got 2 Maxpedition bags that I keep in my POTa bag, and one of them has got, like, a whole bunch of different connectors, and they're all connected together.
Oh yeah. That
way, like, they're not rolling around loose in the bag. They're all just connected to each other, but it's like one adapter of each type. And then, like the Wago to power pole adapter thing, I keep a couple of those, and a little 3D printed, splitter box for power, just in case like I need to split off power, or I need to combine power, right? And so those little Max Edition bags are great for that, and they all have a spot for a morale patch. And so you just get a morale patch that says what's in the freaking bag.
Right. Yeah.
And then
that's what I was thinking was once I got them situated the right way, I'd go just spend the $5 or $6 to get the little, Velcro kind of stick on things, and that'd be good.
Yeah. And especially the nice thing about a custom morale patch is even if you change the contents of the bag, you can just take that and just swap the morale patch
100%.
to whatever the new bag is. Right.
Right. Yeah. You're not stuck.
And first aid, the first aid symbol is universal. So you just get one of those universal
color
first aid
red,
patches.
that's exactly. I bought a red bag with a little plus, the little first aid symbol on it, and it's a rip away. So like the Molly backing will stay to the Molly panel, and they can just pull it away. And so if I need to make something, like that was one of the things what I learned from you. It's like, okay, you know where all the quick stuff is in the truck, so you can explain to somebody really quickly. Oh, go here and you'll find this. And so that was kind of my thing. It was like, okay, when I lay it all out, it's like, oh yeah, go in the back of the truck, flip the seat down. The first aid kit's right there on the left. Go grab it. It's red. You can't miss it, kind of thing. So, trying to think in those teams. So more so like I wanted the truck to be like just another resource, outside of it being the vehicle. So like I already have these small little things in my bags, my POTa gear and everything else like that. And those are fine. But like having them as an addition, or say I'm not doing a POTa and I'm at field day and something happens, God forbid, first aid, but more so like, hey, we need to repair a coax cable. Well, okay, now I have a coax crimper, and I've got all of the compression tools. I've got a small little like what's the soldering pens that you got, Paul, like that type of thing. You running off USB.
Yeah,
available. Yeah. Those to be able to solder on a compression, a tip to a coax cable or whatever. And so that's things like that I want to kind of prepare the vehicle and have available, and not have to have in a box stored under the floor. It's just all on the panel. So yeah, playing around with that. It requires a lot of thought, if anything, that I'm learning. But
as long as the organization of it makes sense to you, and it's easy for you to explain to somebody else, you can say, hey, listen, passenger side under the back seat, there's this, and it's in this bag. All you got to do is just go grab it.
Yep. That's what I learned from you, especially where you were able to just like, oh, this goes here. This, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that makes total sense now. So it helped in creating spaces for stuff to be stored. I didn't want that to happen. I wanted it to be, optimize what I had for space and go from there. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, the biggest thing I'm struggling with is I want to put more solar on the truck, because the solar panel I've got nicely tucked behind the cab, and you saw where it is, Paul. So it's like literally right behind the back rack. It's great if the truck is directly in sunlight, but it's getting into winter, it's harder and harder to find. So it's like, okay, do I expand that and go to like 5 or 6 panels? Because I'm finding a 60-watt panel puts out maybe 5 watts on a good day, so you try charging a 50 amp hour battery on 5 watts. That's going to take like 5 hours to get like top back up off like 20%. So,
well, that's where you swap tonneau covers, and instead of adding panels to your tonneau cover, you just get the tonneau cover that has the panels built in.
Yeah. not freaking cheap.
Because I want to say it's like 300 watts, the tonneau covers. Like,
and that's exactly what you probably would need to charge anywhere between 50 to 100 amp hour battery. You can keep it relatively topped off even on a cloudy day. So yeah, it's just one 60-watt panel is not going to give you, it's going to give you 30%, as I'm learning, because I didn't read all the fine print. 30%, yeah, that's right around 10 watts. It's not a lot to keep a battery going.
Well, 30 is good, because 25 is the average.
Yeah, usually.
Or, hear me out. Instead of more solar,
coal?
No, put a windmill. Maybe you can tune it up, and if you can't tune the thing up, you can at least put like a meshtastic note up on top, and then Todd will hear it. You know.
So I should really we should resurrect those. Like, remember how you go to like auto parts stores and see those small little whistles that you put on the front of your bumper to keep deer away? That never really worked anyway. Have like 50 of those all on the front of my truck, and all just generating a quarter of a watt.
Use the link that Todd shared with us for those small little portable wind turbines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and just have them like spinning as you're driving.
When you hit
a whole bunch
88
of them.
miles an hour,
Oh,
when you hit 88 miles an hour with those whistles, it sounds like FT8.
I know. Oh, dude, man. You can only imagine the wind drag on that thing. All of a sudden, like I'm now suffering from gas mileage alone. I drive a big giant truck. It's the gas mileage is already tough. Now putting wind drag. So yeah. So it's the things you never like learn when you dive into a project until you start getting deeper into it.
So how much wattage on the solar panel do you need to keep that battery?
To keep the battery, if I did my calculations right, I would need 5 other panels to be able to be close enough to be able to pull in the wattage I need to keep the battery topped off at like 90%.
So why don't you just take that whole back cover and just fill the whole thing with panels?
I could, but I can't commit to it because it's just like it screams, "Hey, idiot," to the rest of the world for some reason. I don't know. Like I can't make them stealthy enough to like blend them in because I've seen people do it. Like there are a couple of guys I saw on the web that on YouTube that took panels and used their hard top like Paul has on his truck, and each section had 2 60-watt panels, and they were all in series or parallel. I can't remember which one they had it in. And they all fed the battery, and they were able to keep a 100-watt battery topped off. But you're looking at it, and it doesn't look right. Like, I'm not ready for that.
If you get black panels, and you already got, you're gonna see it
because they're not really truly black because they're green in some cases with a tinge, and I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. I could run a power cord out there and run my 40 amp hour battery charger for 2 hours.
We could make it look pretty stealthy as if we took like from your back rack and took like a board kind of down, kind of like the way the Tesla looks, and just put on the board the solar panels
like
and just
Tesla.
make it.
Thank you. Not interested.
We'll just turn that freaking piece of shit Dodge into a cyber truck.
Blah blah blah. Okay, at least I can put my solar panels on a working bed that's not held on by a strap. There, my friend.
No, it's got to make you wonder though, why this is not the stuff on the extra exam.
Yeah,
and instead we're doing like dual gate and MOSFETs or what, unless like you need a dual gate and MOSFET or whatever it is.
I don't know where we would apply that.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Yeah.
That's like I said, like even when I got my general, like the general prepared me for squat because when I didn't know how to activate. It doesn't give you anything. And then the technician was a load of crap because it tells you to call CQ when you're calling out a channel, but it doesn't tell you not to call CQ on a repeater, and then you get made fun of. So like I said, it's just shitty questions for, especially like on a technician, like it tells you like 10 times, if you want to call someone, anyone, just call CQ. So I get my license, I get on the radio, I'm like, CQ, W1STJ, CQ. And the guy's like, dude, you don't need to call CQ, you're on a repeater. Didn't say that on the exam. It told me to do that. So I was doing what the exam said, and it's not true.
You had to do this, Mike, didn't you?
Yeah. How many times have we gone over this, Todd?
I know.
At the end of the day, you are not wrong for calling CQ, whether it's on a repeater or not.
But it's
if
not.
you are seeking a contact, that is the proper thing to do.
That's not how it works, though.
No.
There's the this is what we do, and then there's this is how we do it.
Don't instigate him.
No one calls CQ on a repeater except a newbie that doesn't know any better who just took the exam because the exam told them to do it.
I don't. Yes, we all agree 100%. We've beat this horse to death twice, and now that Mike's dragged it back out of the field one more time around. I
can operate better than probably 90% of the extras out there. I guarantee it. Because
operating
most
style
extras don't
and
even operate.
understanding test questions are two different things. But here, I will support your view because we have 4 new technicians in our club that got their technician license, and they don't know their ass between their elbow when trying to figure out what parts they need to buy. And what did they do? They consulted all the guys that already had gone through all of that to learn, like, oh,
Who already spent all their money and learned the hard way.
So, you know, I mean, how much crap did we throw at Annie when she got her stuff?
No, I know. Like I said, I get it. It's just there's no. I really wish there was a way to make the tests more realistic to what people are actually doing. Right?
Yeah,
like
I think you could.
People don't. Why do you have to put up this shit?
Because we know we've had this whole discussion. I'm still reaching out to the test folks because I still have that as a topic. I've emailed them 3 times now. I wish they would respond back because I would love to actually hear.
Yeah, they don't
hear
from
the
them.
Freaking link. I shared the link so that you could email them all of your test question problems.
That's the last time we invite Mike on. Thanks, Mike.
I don't care. I may not even get
Mike's
my
fault that
I don't even know why.
fucking is still stuck in fucking two months ago freaking episodes.
Yes.
No, I get where they're coming from. You want to have amateur radio operators who are really well learned in not just the theory, but the application and a lot of this stuff. I mentioned the QMX, you can get it as kit. I don't have the time, but I mean, I'm sure that'd be like a much better learning experience, hands-on trying to build something or whatever. But a lot of where these questions and the extra and the general, like some of it just doesn't apply to the daily use that a lot of us have as operators. And there's a big difference from, when you get into the theory and stuff versus just operating in the practical applications
100%
of this. And so I get where they're coming from. You want to have at least some extras and amateurs who are able to, operate and do this stuff at a higher level, much higher level than myself or whatever. But at the same point, like some of the practical stuff gets lost in that. And
speaking from all 4 of us here, like what, in 10 years, I mean, Paul will be right around 53. Todd will be in his 60s. I'll be in my 60s. You're probably getting close to your 60s at that point. Like, we have a whole different subset of knowledge than most of those guys that were building their own transceivers in the 50s and 60s. So what is that going to look like testing wise? I mean, they're going to have to change the whole structure.
Why isn't there a question about POTa? People do it. A lot of people do it.
I'm sure there will be eventually.
Probably on the general test, it should probably have some questions on what POTa is or contesting. What is contesting? That kind of stuff. But I mean, my thing.
Todd?
I know. I'll email it.
Okay, listen. The technician question pool is up for renewal in the next year.
Yep.
2026, the technician question pool will be totally different. So now is the time to submit those changes.
All right, I'll do it.
So,
and the general is up in 27.
Yeah. I mean, to be truthfully honest, I don't know how much like even that would be useful for someone to talk. Like, what questions would you throw into that pool, Todd? I'm curious. Now that we're on this topic, anyway.
About POTa?
Yeah. Like, what would you want to have somebody be able to memorize or learn that would be important for them to do in POTa?
Well, like I don't know, just what is POTa? Or how you can get involved with it. How do you make a contact in POTa? How do you set up what do you need to get to? I mean, it's like contesting too. Like you don't like contesting. Like no one knows how to contest from the test. There's no test question on contesting, and that's a big part of ham radio. So why isn't contesting on? Not that I'm doing it, but if I wanted to do it, I wouldn't know how to do it. And if the test is supposed to be a overall knowledge of ham radio, they're missing a lot of stuff. And I've just always, I mean, look at my experience just listening to people who are extras who try to operate like the Aries net, right? Those guys most of them are extras and they're pathetic. Like they don't know how to operate. And I mean,
yeah, but
prove me wrong. They don't know how to do it.
I don't disagree with that, but they didn't gather that from their testing experience. I don't think they could be taught that way.
If you're an extra and you're like supposed to be at the top of the game, the elite, you should know how to fucking operate or run run a net. You should.
No, I don't believe that at all. Because I know.
What is the whole purpose of ham radio? It's operating, right? Like you get on the radio.
Ever hear of when you graduate summa cum laude, those types of folks? They're really good at testing. They know how to be able to play the game to be able to get to their level of education. But like in the real world experience, what does that equate to? Same thing goes with ham radio.
This comes down to like I've always sucked at tests. Always. I have a learning disability, I think. But when I'm practical and I do something, I never forget it. And I think that's
away from them.
And I'm better at doing things than if I had to test for it.
Sure. I don't disagree.
So we have a bunch of extras out there that have no idea what they're doing, either on a net, running a net, operating, communications. It's a disaster.
Well, true, but I
was a disaster too until you taught me how to do it, and then I experienced it. But none of the tests tell you how to operate.
I don't. Here's where I have a little bit of a rub with this, and the bottom line is, and I'll make this my last point because I think we can go back.
FT8 is there any except what FT8 is? If they don't tell you anything about how to do it,
no,
they just say it's a digital mode, but they never tell you what the digital mode is. Or how it's used.
How can you How can you create a test around learning how to do a skill in a area of ham radio, like say running a net?
You should have to record you doing an operation or running a net and send it in with your test.
Doesn't the RSGB have a actual like hands-on part of their portion of the test that they have to go through that? I remember reading somewhere. RSGB had something like when you take your test with them, there is a written portion, and then there's a like hands-on kind of like fluency of how to be an operator. Am I wrong in that? RSGB testing. I need to look this format. Anyway, so we could go down this road again. Either way, I mean, it's hard to test.
I mean, look at what's the purpose of like what do you get out of the test? Like you guys have been testing with me,
understanding,
right? And you get as many wrong as me, and every other extra that's been on here can't remember any of the questions.
Yeah.
So you would think like a test would be like something that it would stick with you. Like you do a driving test, right? And the stuff sticks with you because you drive every day, right?
Yeah.
So how many?
Right.
You did the test or whatever at Nearfest and people didn't get the questions right. So I mean that's what I'm saying. To me it's like there should be a testing where it's actually meaningful and that you actually take the information and it's used in the hobby that you're doing. 90% of the extra tests I'm never going to use in the hobby. Now, maybe if I was going to be a microwave engineer and I was going to be an electrical engineer, yeah, I would need to do that. But that's not what I'm doing, right? I'm just operating.
Okay. But apply that same skills to your getting your driver's license.
Yeah.
You studied a whole bunch of rules and regulations, but do you remember or apply all of your rules and regulations when you're out on the road?
Yeah. You have to.
I don't.
You can't tailgate people. You can't run stop signs. You can't park and cross on double lines.
Fact, I have my wife sit in the passenger seat. I know I do not apply all the rules that I have supposedly technically learned.
You break the rules, but you know that you can't cross or you're not supposed to cross on a double line.
But then that's back to the same idea that if you're testing to just a standard, like here's a foundational rule set of stuff that you need to do.
But what like those diagrams? Like why have any of you ever used those diagrams? For what? For what? What have you used it for?
Understanding a circuit.
Okay, understanding it, but did you use it for something? Did you have all those things and
when I built
what all those are, right? Because you got one of them wrong today, but you know them all, right? Because you tested it and you're the extra, but you don't
know them all. Right. I don't know them all. I looked them up, but I did use.
Oh, so we could look things up if we don't know the answer. Again, why does it have to be memorized?
Because there has to be some place to start from. That's all. And that's basically what I'm getting at. It's like, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, do you ever really use it? You may or may not, depending on your mileage may vary kind of in the whole process. But there has to be something. Otherwise, you end up getting, the GMRS license where anybody can.
I believe there should be something. It should just be more with the times. There's more things going on in ham radio that we do. I mean, Meshtastic, it's part of ham radio.
That's not ham radio, though.
Really? Because it has a thing. If you're licensed or not, click it, right? So
that is only a power setting. That's all it does.
I know, but it is a ham radio thing, and it has the concepts of ham radio, and a lot of people are doing it.
Yes, but someone who uses Meshtastic who has no ham radio license still flip that damn thing on and still use it. They just will be in the wrong frequencies and hear nobody, except people that are using that frequency, which nobody.
Hey, Mike, high five.
I know, please, guys. help me, please.
Get away.
I don't know how we got here. Just get your extra dude and
you know what?
on.
I gotta, and I'll never be allowed back on. But Todd's on. Mike. Todd's on to something.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
And here,
that's how you use it.
And one of my Elmers, and I'm sure a lot of Elmers say it's it's a license to learn. It's a lifetime license to learn, and that's the truth because this hobby is like so wide and so deep. But I think what Todd's getting at, and I think maybe it's a challenge to put out to a lot of content creators like ourselves. But I think what's missing is a lot of the practical applications. You can do things like you can do a ham radio prep, you can do a ham study, and all these things, try to learn the answers, try to learn the theory and this and that. But some of the stuff like, well, what is FTA and how do you use it? And what's the difference between doing something like FTA and PSK 31 or whatever from a more practical standpoint? I think some of that stuff is missing, and whether it's how you operate, how you run a pile up, or how you break a pile up, and what the etiquette is with DX and some of this stuff, that's missing. You don't get that if you just, take a class, do the exam, study the questions, and all that. You learn that in the real world. Honestly, I just learn. I learned.
If there's any way you can learn that in a classroom.
But I do think some of that stuff is something that's missing, so it's like you need, the equivalent of, the real world ham radio or something, thinking back to, Gen X MTV days. You need like the real world version. Like this is how it works, or this is why, yes, Meshtastic, it's not ham radio. It plays in a band that ham radio people can use. And if you got your license, you can use more power. But you're not going to be able to do this or that, and some of the differences and why it matters. And I think some of that stuff, could be interesting, especially to newer hams, because like I said earlier, I learned, and a lot of us, we're all learning hands-on. You get your ticket and then you go play, and you kind of learn as you go. But some of that practical stuff that's not in the textbooks, because it's going to change. There's always going to be new modes and stuff. But some of the things that I don't think I learned about the Miss net in the textbook or in ham study, but things like the Miss net, like you should talk about or whatever, because
that's All-Star.
That's how a lot of hams might make some of their first contacts and stuff, and or whatever. I've never done it, but it's, after I started operating, I heard people talking about it. I'm like, oh, okay. So
that's the 3955 Century Club.
Yeah.
Or
those worked all states nets.
Yep. Stay away from 14.300. Why? You tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that'd
the
be good.
people in Wisconsin will get upset. There might be a boat in distress out in international waters.
Well, but here's my prime example. We've all been there, and Todd, you probably experienced this. And
Yeah.
I know all of us have. It's like you get your general, you sit in front of the radio, and you're like, "Holy crap! What is my band space? What do I have to work in?" And when I get on 20 meters, you're like, you sit there and go, "Where's that band plan? I need something to hold on to," because you have no idea. Well, right. Exactly. You go print that out.
Think of it this way, right? If I'm correct, and most extras, not all, most or a lot of them, don't know how to operate, but they took the test and passed it because they're good at taking tests. Their reward is they get to use more band space. They can't even do the band. They can't even work the band space as it is in any section. And what I'm saying is like there should be and I don't know how you do it, but you should be able to be prepared that when you are a technician going to a general, you should be the test should prepare you that you can, the day you get your general, get on your radio and feel comfortable about operating and getting on there. And it doesn't do that. It didn't do it for me. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew all the technical stuff.
To be true, it's never done that. That's what I'm getting at. Like, unless you took a class, like, which you did, this is kind of what has happened because everybody's like, oh, I just want to learn to study on my own. I don't want to spend money. I can do the cheapest way out. Like, when I got my no-code technician, I sat through 4 months of like 2-hour classroom sessions on a Saturday morning at, a local club, and they taught you the material.
Well, why don't they have online courses for it?
They
like
do.
An online
100%.
class.
ARL's got a bunch. There's local clubs that do. I mean, they're everywhere. You just got to look. I mean, it's not like
our club does a tech and a general, and if they get enough people, they'll do an extra one twice a year. So
so they're out there. You just have to look for it. I know, like Andy took the ARL class, which was like 8 weeks of 1 hour or 2 hour sessions. At the very end of it, you take the test kind of thing. And so there are solutions out there. The problem is like if you do it your self-paced way, what do you get? You get to an end, you get the certificate, and then you're left with like, where do I go? Because there's no support system there. That's what's really, I think, is the struggle. So, anyway.
POTa on.
Exactly. POTa on. Sorry. All right, moving on. I don't know, where do I go from here? Because at this point, I'm exhausted.
What do you mean to exhaust you?
That's okay. I'm getting old. What's happening, my friend?
So I wanted to ask you guys for a portable antenna, minus the ones we use, is there any antenna that you guys think would be like a good, like a cool antenna to have, or an antenna that, regardless of money, like what would be a cool portable antenna that you could use in POTa that's not, the resonance, not the buddy pole, not the like
doublet.
The what?
Doublet.
What is that?
So a doublet is, think about it as a horizontal random wire. Okay. But you're feeding it, a doublet's traditionally going to be fed by like 450 ohm line. So not coax. So the ladder line, window line, whatever you call it. 450 ohm line or 300 ohm line. You're going to feed it with that, and then you're going to have a couple legs going off, just like a dipole, but you're not going to trim it to be resonant on a particular frequency, just like a random wire. And you want the tuner to do the work. I've never used one. I still have some ladder line left. I bought a bunch at a Hamfest a couple years ago with the intention of doing a doublet, but I used some of that to do that skeleton sleeve dipole for 2 and 6. So I got some left. I don't know how much, but the key takeaway is it's different than coax. You're not using coax. You're using the ladder line, but because you're using balanced feed line, not unbalanced, coax, unbalanced, balanced feed line, it doesn't matter what the SWR is to a certain extent. The losses are going to be so low because you have balanced currents canceling each other out on the feed line. The tuner does the work, it finds the match, and then you can work a whole bunch of bands depending on the length that you have, and you can do it so efficiently. I think that's interesting.
It works best with a manual tuner.
Yes. Yep. And especially if you get a manual tuner that has the balance line inputs and stuff, but nonetheless, that's something I'd love to play, and I think it's really neat for portable use, because the catch with balance feed line is you want to keep it away from metal and other things that can interact. You want that line to be balanced, and if you get it too close to metal or some other objects in free space, it can throw things off. And what makes it unique is that lack of loss and how lossless balance line can be. So, and you're pulling up a diagram right now. So
it's basically looks like a dipole. The difference is it's not fed with coax; it's fed with ladder line.
Yep.
So and G5RV would kind of run that line.
Yeah, and something I think 44 feet might be a common length, and you still have legs like 22 feet on each side, and you can easily probably work 40 through 10 with that and get out really efficiently. And I think there's something about that 44-foot length, actually, where the radiation pattern is very consistent across the bands.
Your antenna that you have, Todd, at home a doublet? I thought it was
off-centered. It's an off-centered dipole.
Oh, it's an off-centered dipole. Okay, so then I don't know if it's fed with that. It's not definitely not fed with ladder line.
Yeah.
It's solid coax.
The one that I had at my house was fed with ladder line.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so why that one, Mike? I'm curious, just because
multi-banded, and then it's tricky if you're trying to bring balance line into the house.
Okay.
Because that you can only bring it so far, and then you got to end up switching it off to coax, for that last mile or whatever they would call it, and that can make it a little tricky. But if you're operating portable and you're out at a picnic table or wherever, then you don't got to worry about the balance feed line coming in contact with metal or structures or anything that's going to just throw it off. It can be sensitive. I think a balance line like a mag loop, it's very, very sensitive. If you ever use a mag loop antenna and you get it near something that's metal or anything else, it throws everything off and stuff. But I think that a doublet would be fun because it's going to be efficient and you're going to be multi-band. It's probably one of the more efficient multi-band antennas that you're going to get.
Cool. Anyone else have?
Well, I think Mike took a different turn there. He jumped right into the shallow end of the pool, but I think you always answer with the line, "It depends," and so that's where he should have started. But I guess the question is, well, what's your are you looking for POTa only application?
I'm just throwing the question out there. That's what I use. When I'm out doing. What antenna would you, if you could get a POTa antenna or a mobile antenna besides, the ones we've already got, what would you want?
Well, Mike went the route of build it and try it. I
went with something I've never used. That's why that's how I interpreted the question.
That was a surprising one too. There, it's I've never used this, but try this.
Yeah, that's what it's been on the to-do list.
This might explode, but it might not. Yeah. I don't know.
It won't explode.
I guarantee it. It won't set itself on fire unless you put too much power through it.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have that much power out in the POTa park. If you're doing POTa, for me, it's always a trade-off because how far you go in terms of the gear you lug, what you're bringing, and then that equates to your antenna size. I would never, in my experience with verticals, never bring the res with me because that thing weighs a ton. It's you put the base, the antenna, the coil, and all of the stuff that comes with it on top of your pack as well. And if you even go 100 yards, I carried that with my pack and some of my gear, and I'm dude, my back hurts. It's not a great, portable antenna. It's a great design, definitely well made, but I don't think it for me would be the best suggestion I would offer to somebody to say, hey, go do this. I would say, I'd have to kind of look at like knowing you. So we'll just use you as an example for me, Todd. I would say simpler is always better. Mm-hmm. And the idea is how do you operate currently? So like, I know you operate like in very short spurts. So you need quick setup, you need fast rollout, and you need something to cover multi-bands for most of the stuff you're going to do and most popular things.
Right.
So vertical is a good fit, but if you want a really good sound, like again, if I say, well, if you want to spend no money, build the antenna like Mike suggested, because you'll learn the heck of a lot in the shortest period of time, and you'll get a better idea of what works best for you and what doesn't. But there's a whole learning curve there in and of itself that you've got to deal with that you wouldn't normally get out of an off-the-shelf type thing, like you buy a pack antenna or you buy something like that that's already pre-tuned for you and you're ready to go, or a spool antenna or whatever. Mm-hmm. But my experience, if I told you to go get your one antenna that you want to start with, I would say go get a spool antenna, because for me, that's a good trade-off, good wire antenna, pretty good in terms of overall performance out of it. I've had no major problems with it in terms of its construction, and it's it takes a good abuse, and you can get it up pretty quickly on very short order if you've got a lot of trees next to you. But if you live out in the middle of the desert, well, that's a whole different scenario.
Right.
So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Grouch, the man of
dude.
man.
I'm just gonna say it doesn't matter what it is, but you're always going to be better with a wire.
I'm learning more of that.
You're always going to be better with a wire, whether it's an end fed half wave, whether it's dipole, an off center fed, it doesn't matter. You are always going to do better with a wire than you are with a vertical.
Yeah. And resonance better than, say, bringing a tuner with you just to cut down on load, but not that you can't bring a smaller tuner with you and still get the same performance.
The more that you play with antennas, whether you build them or buy them, the more that you're going to learn. And I try to use different things. And just the other day, this worked out fantastic. The bug out that the linked bug out that I made, but one of the limitations when you do a linked end fed half wave, which I kind of knew in the back of my head, but then when it happened, I was like, links snag in trees. And that's a trade-off, because if you make the end fed linked like we did, I could take off the 40-meter extension. So I don't need to worry about, I can put up half the wire. I don't need to worry about the other half. And I can get a better radiation pattern because I'm not getting lobes, because I'm on the first harmonic and not the second harmonic, which I would be if it was all 66, 67 feet.
Right.
But you put links in these things and then they get caught up in trees and snagged on branches. And again, it's just that's the hands-on practical use stuff that you're not going to necessarily see in the textbooks or the exams, but you just, you RF around, you find out, you see what works for you in different use cases. And I don't think any of us have found the perfect antenna and the perfect radio or any of that. You just keep toying around, and there's so many different use cases, and you can make an argument for POTa that you should be using a vertical because you want to be able to hear and receive from all different directions. You want something that's omnidirectional and everything. But if you're on the coast, that might not necessarily be the case or so. You might want something that's a little bit more directional depending on where you are. And so I don't think there's any solution. I threw out the whole doublet thing earlier because it's something that's been in the back of my mind for like over a year. And I think it'd be a fun antenna to play with. And I'm sure when I do it, I'll learn some stuff from it and some stuff I like or I don't. But everything when it comes to the antennas is a compromise. And like Eric said, it depends. It depends on so many use cases. How are you going to use it? Do you want to work just one band? Do you want to work multiple bands? Do you need something that's going to be a quick setup, or do you like to go out and operate for a few hours at a time? Like all these things factor in.
Yep. And you haven't even gotten into like the stuff where you already talked about the technical part of it where you see in the books and you read in the books, but they don't have any like, oh, did you remember to not cut the antenna too long or too short? Or, are you using the right resistor in line? Oh, did you remember to put a ballon or not? What the hell's a ballon? When did that come into the play? Oh, did you remember dealing with ground, interference and maybe thinking about a counterpoise based off of what resonance is coming off the antenna for ohms? Like, all of that stuff you just, you only learn by doing, which is, it sucks because if you don't pay attention to it, or you don't give it time, I should say, not pay attention to it. If you don't give it time to learn it, you end up getting frustrated because you really all at the very end was you wanted to go activate and you can't because you just, you're doing like we talked about on Brew and Activate. It's like the night before, was it After Dark Build an Antenna series, like you had mentioned on Brew and Activate, where from 12 to 4 a.m. you build an antenna, then get up and go try it out in the field before you've even tested it kind of thing. So.
Yeah. And one of the things you mentioned a spool antenna, and I've always I've always equated like the NFED half waves. These are like the IPAs of ham radio, right? Like everyone's got one. And then you see like the spool antenna craze, and DigiRig just came out with one. I just got the email like a day or two ago. So DigiRig is now selling a spool type antenna. I'm like, okay, so these must be like the sours, right? If you're looking at it compared to beer, like, because now you're starting to see all this stuff pop up, right? But what I mentioned with the links, and I realized quickly the other day, I'm like, oh wait, I've been thinking like, I'm so comfortable winding wire on winders or just winding it on my fingers. And stuff, like I'm like, why do I need a spool? But with a spool, depending on how it's configured, you can easily adjust it. And if you got enough wire on there, then you can make it resonant for 12 meters or 17 meters, and you can pick up some of these other bands depending on how much wire you have on there, just by adjusting what length of wire you deploy. You don't have to put it all out there, depending on how it's configured or manufactured. So.
Wow. I am just hearing about this.
Yeah, look at that.
Dude, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Dude, everybody's going spools.
I know.
But this is actually not a bad design. I mean, it's 3D printed for sure, but I don't know. It's got some promise for it. The one thing I've seen...
It looks like it's 1,000 times better than both the spool antenna and the biscuit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they definitely took the design and amped it up for sure. Yeah.
So that's basically just a wire antenna in a spool.
Yep. And I think theirs is for 20 meters. So you probably got like 33, 35 feet. But what I was saying, when you get into things like, and I'm big on harmonics and radiation patterns and stuff, is you can put all, half of a, half wave for 20 meters up in a tree, and then you can easily work 20 and 10. Without having to tune or whatever. But you could also adjust it, and you can put a little bit less up, and now you got 17, or you got 15 or 12. Yes, it's not gonna be push button like it would be if you put a 40 meter NFED up, and you could easily switch between 15 and 40 and 20 and 10. But it's neat. And if you have constraints for space for a setup, and you don't have a lot of space, maybe, and you want to operate on a higher band, like 15 or 17.
Dude, they are undercutting spool antenna hard.
Oh, yeah.
Literally by like $50. And the only thing spool antenna is throwing in on their bigger bundle kit is the coax, which, is about like $40 probably. 40 or $50, depending on how long it is. But wow, that's interesting. It's crazy that it's already sold out.
Yep. Aren't you glad you had me on?
I did. I learned something new, Mike. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
It's my, every time I see you on, I'm like, why don't you just have Mike come on? He makes it interesting.
Always extend the option. The door's always, as the clubhouse says, the door's always open. You've got admin access. You can roll in any time.
But I have fun. Like sometimes, and Ted wasn't in the comments. Where are you at, Ted?
I know.
But sometimes, I feel like Ted and I are like the two old Muppets in the chat. Waldorf and
you guys are the two judges,
right? making the snarky comments from the side, you know.
What, what about like say you wanted to do like an all band portable? Like I know you said like a wire, but like 160. Like we can't. No one ever does
wire though.
Yeah, I know. Or even 80.
Loading coil.
What'd you say?
Loaded coil.
Or a big loading coil.
Yeah.
To get 160.
Yeah, for 160.
I mean, Tim did it. Tim did it at, I don't know, what did he do?
Yeah, but dude, he had 140, 100 and
I know, he ran it like across the whole park.
But he was the only one at the campsite. Literally, he was the one, like he had spanned like 6 campsites at, where he was at doing it.
You need a lot of wire for, if you want to do 160 and stuff. But if you, a good antenna that'll get you a lot of band coverage. And if you have a tuner, you can pretty much, I've done 10 bands on it, is a off center fed dipole for 80 meters. You will, an off center fed dipole, which is going to be fed with it's going to have a 4-to-1. That will give you 80, 40, 20, 10, and 6 without a tuner. And then if you have a tuner, you can get some of the bands in between, and depending on how your tuner is, if it's a 3-to-1 or 10-to-1 or more, you might be able to get a lot. But that's another good option too. Obviously, like you have the end fed half wave, and that it comes into like how you want to feed this thing, like what kind of space you got to work with, because there's advantages sometimes to feeding, straight up the middle, for an off center fed dipole versus an end fed half wave where you got the feed point, 3 feet off the ground, and it might be near you. I like the off center fed dipole from a car, and I'll do a drive over mast, and then I'll just have 25 feet to 30 feet of coax running right out of the window from the driver's side or the passenger side straight up to the feed point, and then the legs going off as long as I got enough space at the park I'm at. And then I have a tremendously efficient antenna that's multi-banded. And if I don't need a tuner, if I want to do, 40, 20, 10, 6, some of these, main bands, it's really nice. And the feed point is high up. So you have you have a higher average elevation above ground with that type of a setup versus an end fed as a sloper. And so you're going to get better takeoff angles.
Yeah. But an end fed tends to be a little bit more directional kind of in the nature versus, your takeoff angles having better gains in that long run. It's kind of funny because you say that, because I started to play with my wire and fooling around. Like, it's gotten me thinking, like, and it's colder now, so I might not do it as much as, we get more snow this way, but I need to get a hitch mount extension, 2-inch, square tube that I can extend my, mast mount up beyond my tailgate, because it would be great to have my tailgate down and operate from there, because I can drop my feed point for the antenna right there on the tailgate and then go up, 10 meters out and then another 25, 40 feet out with, the end fed. And I find that, like, I'm, if I pivot that, wire in north, south, or east or west configuration, depending on where I'm at, I get very good results depending on where I'm, my spread, we'll call my spread pattern, old baseball term, out of, all my contacts and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting to learn that stuff. And then, I still need to get into that layer that you're talking about, like the technical side of it. It's like, oh, well, I can split the bands. I can, do the harmonics. And it's one of those things that eventually will click.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, they always say, like, usually the more metal you get in the air, the better, the more metal or wire, and the higher that you are, the better. But
yeah, totally. So, I don't know. Like I said, it definitely depends. I've learned a lot for sure. And folks like Mike have definitely educated me heavily on, maybe pushing me a little bit more to try, building some of my own stuff. That still just scares the bejesus out of me. I don't know why. It's not that difficult, but Just
So I'm looking, as you guys were talking, I was looking for 160 meter antenna. So Comet has this HFJ 350 series portable for $142. 10 bands, 160, 80, 40, 30, 20, 17, 15,
it's
12,
compromised.
10, 6. 160 meter extension coil, max length, 75 point. Huh?
The Comet, is that Comet little vertical whip thing?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, that's
Is that junk?
yeah.
Yes.
Big time.
I'm just saying, I'm just looking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah, that is very much
Yeah, I would say,
Yeah, here's
For
a
portable-
chameleon.
for portable go ahead, Todd. Sorry.
No, they got a chameleon one. It's just a wire, 130 feet, 160, 500 watt, single sideband.
Well,
$310. So,
Yeah, I think the way that we went at the camp out with a random wire, 148 feet, and they're random. There's you can fudge it a little bit a few feet one way or another way because there's going to be things like velocity factor that factor in, depending on if you use a silicone wire like the B&Tech Go stuff, or you use like the Soda Beams wire that we had used for that one. But that you're still looking at 150-ish feet of a wire in the air. That's not easy to do. And we use lightweight wire. If you're using 18 gauge wire and that much of it, that's heavy. That's going to start to sag and everything else. But it's a compromise. And then you think about how high up you need to be efficient on some of these lower bands, even 80 meters or 40 meters, with dipoles and stuff like that. It's not easy to get these things up half of a wavelength. So all of them are going to be a compromise. I think if you want your best shot for something portable, and I was talking about it, I'd like to go back to the Soda Summit after hunting season, which gun season starts in New York next week for me. That's why we went this weekend.
Speaking of guns,
I want to go up in the winter when 160. It's a good season for 160, probably in January after hunting season has ended.
the hunted
and stuff. But go up and do a overnight soda and do it on 160 because I up at this location there's plenty of space.
Well,
maybe not stay overnight, but at least go up in the evening and set up for 160 and work 160, 80 and a bunch of stuff with a random wire, a long ass random wire, just like we did at the camp out.
What would you suggest for the shack? Just a random wire if you wanted to get 160?
Yeah. Long wire. Yeah.
Because I could probably.
It'd be a random wire for 160. You're not going to get a long wire for 160. But yeah.
Yeah, you could put a random wire in your backyard. You have enough space to run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Usually you want to be with the randoms, you want to be a quarter wavelength or longer for it to start to be efficient. So, and that's why we're talking about, the 150-ish or so feet. Because it's around 130 feet for an 80 meter end-fed half wave. So half of a wavelength on 80 meters. If it's 130, that's about a quarter wave on 160. So that's what you want to be over that.
Who's on 160 anyway? Are there a lot of people on it?
You got me. I've only made one contact on it. So
yeah, that's what I'm like.
I'm no expert on it. The people that are on it that are going to be diehards. I'm going to assume that they're going to be, they call it top band.
And how far
you're working hard, thinking hard to try to get something really efficient.
How far do you, if you had an efficient ones, how far are you getting out?
A long path. I mean, you could get a bunch of different things depending on the.
I mean, 80 meters is typically, I call it local, within 500 miles, right? Is 160 less than that, or could it be longer than that?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to guess it changes at time of day too. because you think about 40 or 80, those open up at night. And especially, I know 40, I've worked plenty of DX into Europe on 40 late night, with a dipole up. And, a good antenna and the right conditions, it'll go. But I don't have enough experience on 160. It said I got more experience on 1.2 gigahertz than I do on 160 meters.
Well, we'll have to try it the next 24-hour POTa again, and throw up.
This is the time. There might even be a contest in December.
There is,
and that's look for opportunities like that. I think the ARL does their 160 contest in December. The winter's a good time for 160, not the summer. So, and I think a lot of it has to do when you get on lower bands, the atmospheric noise. And so if there's a lot of atmospheric noise can be generated in the summer months because of thunderstorms, things like that, versus the winter. So this is time to get on 160.
December 5th through the 7th this year.
Okay.
Yep. So, dude, if you want to start doing 160, Tim's done the 160 meter contest, and when he was up at Mount Monadnock, so hit him up when he does that. I mean, he had a lot of wire in the air for that.
I know.
But it was kind of crazy. But he was making some really good contacts. I mean, a lot of local stuff, but then, once it got really deep and dark into the night, he was getting stuff that's halfway around the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a loaded question, Todd. Man, you're just full of loaded questions today.
I just threw it out there. You said you wanted to change.
There's a lot of good content, though.
It was.
Hey, that digi-rig, it only says it does, looking at it says it only does, 20 watts?
Oh, yeah, the max duty cycles.
The antenna. Yeah, it's a QRP. Watts. I think it's a QRP one. So it's like, 20 or 30 watts.
Yeah.
49 to 1. So, I don't know. I definitely worth picking one up for review to try it out. Why not? I mean, we'll add it to my spool, collection at this point. It's like collecting, rocks, round rocks. I don't know. All right. Well, shall we wrap this up for this evening? Since we're already into the third hour.
What time is it?
It's like
holy shit! It's
11
o'clock.
I know, it's way past Todd's bedtime. Paul's like, I'm still awake.
I'm not working tomorrow, so
my bad.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
I still have to get up though to bring the kids to school, or one of them.
Tomorrow's a Marine Corps birthday,
and mine.
Awesome.
Yep. And Veterans Day is 2 days after that.
Tuesday.
After that.
Tuesday.
So actually, we should talk about that real quick. So I know one of our good friends, Tortoise Overland, threw out a challenge for folks that I thought was pretty cool. So if obviously by the time you listen to this, unless you're a Patreon listener, this will have come and gone. So hopefully you're on our Discord and you got wind of it. But yeah, he threw out the challenge for those to go out and activate a POTa park on Veterans Day, but do it in a memorial kind of park that's a military kind of focused or whatever, and try that out and do that on Veterans Day there, and give it a shot. So I know Shannon said she was going to be doing a park in Concord that I possibly might be able to get a breakaway. We'll see, depending on my schedule to go do that. So
Concord, Mass, or New Hampshire?
Yeah, Concord, Mass. Yeah. So
now, all right, I got to throw this caveat out there. Okay, there has to be bonus points if you activate on the 11th at 11 a.m. Because all right, so listen, the whole point of Veterans Day, and a lot of people don't know this, but Veterans Day was originally Armistice Day.
Yep.
And so the end of World War II, right? They signed the armistice on the 11th day of the 11th month, the 11th hour, right? And so that's where I will say, I will personally give some bonus kudos to anybody that recognizes the armistice.
And if you can time it where it's at the 11th day, 11th hour, and your 11th POTa contact, then we'll really see
that's some coordination.
That's a trifecta right there. You can make that happen.
What if I did it on 11 meters?
Wow, that would be very impressive there, Mike. That timing, you might actually have to have a buddy sitting in your truck, like in the parking lot over, but
Channel 38 lower sideband.
Yeah, there you go. It might give me a reason to take out the CB rig that grouched through my way. So yeah, so that'd be fun. So hopefully you'll participate in that if you
that's a cool idea.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see how people make out. I know it's been pretty chatty on our Discord. And like we said, if you have been over to our Discord, head over. The link's in the description below. There's always some great content going and conversations going on there. And if all the stuff you get out of it, there's a great channel in there called Nom Noms. And, I guarantee, you're going to come out of there fat, dumb, and hungry. Not hungry, fat, dumb, and stupid, as they say.
You will be hungry.
You
all
might.
that food porn will make you hungry.
That is very true. So, so it's good stuff. Definitely enjoy the community. It's always fun. It's one of the things I always look forward to when I'm hanging out or doing stuff during the day. See what's going on. So let's wrap this stuff up here. So as always, thank you again for joining the Live Free and Ham community. We truly appreciate everybody who hangs out with us and everybody who helps support the show. And we can't thank you guys enough, as always. So you can always connect with us, as always, through our Discord server, like we already mentioned. That's conversations below and on all of our descriptions. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell, and definitely like and share just to spread the love. Let other people know about our content and, share that. And then you can always leave us a voicemail at 978-233-1142. Maybe you got a question after hearing all of the stuff that we talked about tonight. It might trigger, a follow-up question. Feel free. Give us a call. Leave that, question there, and we'll review it in our next episode. And then, heck, if you want to help support the show financially, you can definitely head over to our Patreon or use our Buy Us a Beer links. And you can always go to livefreeandham.com. Check all of our merch out, all of our previous episodes, live streams. Find out all about the show hosts. And if you haven't already, and for some reason, if you've somehow fallen off the radar, which you shouldn't have, we've switched podcast, aggregators. So everything should be pretty seamless based off of what I've been watching for the past couple of weeks. But, make sure you're getting the latest feed by clicking all the links there. We're on all of the usual aggregators that are out there. So hopefully, we've had an interrupted experience going forward. And we appreciate all of that. So with that, thank you again for listening. And from all of us here at Live Free and Ham, 7-3.
Have you seen my wiener?